All right, welcome back. So last week, we had a conversation about nominating pets, great pet names for pets of the month, pet name of the month. One thing I think is kind of funny is hipster surnames. And I mentioned this in rehearsal, if you will. Last week, no one cared about it or even understood what I was talking about. This happens a lot with me. And so I'm looking at some of these names and I see names of dogs, especially like Reagan, Madison,
Howard,
Jordan. No, none of those. Mason, hipster surnames. That's all the rage. The hipster, Carter, they're naming all their kids. Parker, Ethan's not a surname, but Carson's a big one. Chase is actually not a surname. Jackson's is a kind of an old standard. And Jordan, of course, was the first of them all. And you got humans who I know they want to name eventually they're gonna have kids, want to name them these cool hipster names. And it just seems like that they never had kids or they ran out of kids or something. And so there's no kids to name Madison. I love that name, the Reagan. So I said, let's just name this dog that. And you can tell. And so speaking of which, there's a movie called Splash. And I mentioned this before, from 1984, Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. And she doesn't have a name. And he asked her, he knows her after a couple of days or something. He said, by the way, what's your name? And she makes some horrific noise. And he says, well, we can't do that. And she says, well, I would like to be called Madison. And she got off the street signs of Madison Avenue. And Tom Hanks said, that's not a name. It's not a person name, which is funny because now it's a person name. But back then it was actually, you didn't call your kids that. Madison's not a name.
Elizabeth,
Madison.
Samantha.
Madison, I like Madison.
Well, Madison's not a name.
I thought that was funny, but now they're shifted. But I think these hipster surnames have got to be attached to humans for like 3 or 4 generations before you can hand them down to pets. Like Milo, probably when it first came out, you can't name your dog Milo, but after being out there for 50 years, now you can do it.
Run, Milo!
And Sam also suggested that we do pet owner names of the month. He thought I missed that, but I caught it the second time through. So we're possibly going to vote for pets names and then their owner names too. That may be a different episode, but we have a list. And so we'll nominate pet of the month. And so we have a list that we generated, and what names each of us can nominate 2 names. So what do you got there?
I have Mango
the lizard. I guess we're going to nominate Mango the lizard.
Hanzai the cat.
Hanzai. And you got another nomination. I'm definitely going Omar the cat.
Mhm.
I'm going to do Omar the cat and Nilla Wafer the cat. For some reason, Nilla Wafer is funny. So that's mine. If you can take those down.
Okay.
Just put my name next to Nilla Wafer and Omar.
I think Ringo's pretty good.
Sam is going to do Ringo the dog.
I also like Otis.
So there's Sam's 2 and cut. No.
With all that said,
With all that said, how would I end this thing? Just say cut? How do I usually end these things? With all that said,
have a wooftastic day.
With all that said, as Jackie from Global Pets in South Africa loves to say, have a wooftastic day. And now hit that. Let's do that jingle. Bam.
AE Pets loves their cats and dogs.